Hello students, how are you all? Today we are going to start history chapter number 10, the modern period, part 2. I hope that you have understood part 1. If you have any doubt, mention it in the comment section. Now let us start our next topic, that is periods in history. Children, when we talk about periods in history or periodization in history, Indian history is basically divided into three parts, that is ancient, medieval and modern history. When we talk about ancient history, you have read it in class 6th, that was about Stone Age and the development of civilization. When we talk about medieval history, that you have read in class 7th, that begin from 8th to 18th century. Now in class 8th, you are going to study about modern history, that is from 19th century. In this, you are going to study about the rise of northern and southern emperors, Turkish power, Mughal powers, Delhi Sultanate, coming of European, East India Company, Sepoys Mutiny, etc. Children, please keep pencil in your hand and write down all the important points. So children, we can say that periodization helps us understand the sequence in which various events occurred and also their effects. Children, now we are going to read about James Mill. James Mill was a Scottish economist and a political philosopher. In 1817, he wrote a history of British India. In this, he divided history into three periods and called them Hindu, Muslim and British period. Many cannot accept James Mill's division of Indian history into the Hindu, Muslim and British period, nor can they accept the reason he had given for that division. Because when we talk about Hindu period, we have to accept that Muslims were also present during that period. When we talk about Muslim period, we have to accept that Hindus were also present during that time frame. Rulers in ancient India belong to many faiths, so it is wrong to divide history as Hindu, Muslim or British. A period in history cannot be characterized only through their religion of the ruler. Moreover, the British projected the so-called Hindu and Muslim period as the Dark Ages to prove that the British rule would take India towards enlightenment. This was a deliberate attempt to stop Indians from taking pride of their legacy. Now let us talk on next topic, that is periodization by other historians. In this, children, some other historians divided Indian history into three periods, that is ancient, medieval and modern. Some historians say that the change from the ancient to the medieval period occurred when Turks arrived in India. The change in medieval to modern period arrived when British came to India. The modern era emerged from the progress changes caused by the Industrial Revolution, which began in England and later on spread out to Europe and other parts of the world. And it brought socio-economic changes, urbanization, scientific progress and colonization. Britishers exploited our local cottage and small scale industries, brought the suffering and poverty upon the native population of our country. So children, can this period be called modern for India? Hence, the British historians called the colonial Indian as the modern, and Indian historian called it colonial. Now let us talk about the word colonization. Children, when the British ruled India between 1858 to 1947 and imposed their values and customs over Indian people, this process of establishing control over a country by another country that brings about a socio-cultural, political, economic changes is termed as colonization. Because at that time no proper development took place in a country. India remained storehouse of raw material for the British industries. Now let us talk about historical sources of information. A number of sources tell us about the modern period in Indian history. They are been grouped under primary and secondary sources. Primary sources are the official records which the Mughals introduced the culture of maintaining records, and the British believed that every instruction, plan or policy had to be clearly written down. So they kept written records of every key instructions, meetings, transactions, investigation, plan, policy, decision and agreements. And why they did so, children? Because this was necessary for proper study and debate about an issue. They attached records rooms with all the important administrative instructions to preserve the documents. Children, if we talk about Major James Rennell, he was an English geographer, historian and a pioneer of oceanography. He prepared the map of India as directed by Robert Clive. In the early years of 19th century, documents were carefully copied out and beautifully written by calligraphers. Calligraphy is a art of beautiful writing, and by the middle of 19th century, with the spread of printing, multiple copies of these records were printed. The British built specialized institutions like museum and archives to preserve important documents. They built number of monuments like Gateway of India, Rashtrapati Bhavan and the Parliament House. Now let us talk about secondary sources. Secondary sources derives their information from the primary sources. For example, newspapers, magazines, pamphlets, reports, reviews, articles, books, etc. The British preserved the important official documents because these served as records of what the officials thought, what they were interested in and what they wished for. British thought that writing was more important than speaking, as the document in archives, museums can be utilized for reference at a much later period whenever required for studying or debating. These can also serve as an information or proof of any decision or action taken earlier on some matters. Now let us talk about surveys. Survey reports. The British also begin the practice of conducting survey. For example, population survey, revenue survey, land survey, etc. They believed that a country should be known in a thoroughly detailed way to rule it in a better manner. For effective administration, the British carried out a number of surveys. Detailed surveys were conducted in the 19th century to map the country. Surveys were also conducted about flora and fauna, revenue and land. The British made a large number of topographic maps. Now let us see the meaning of the word topography. Topography is a precise description of a place or a detailed graphical representation of a surface or an object. These surveys helped in collecting information on the religion, caste and occupation of people. These surveys have helped historians to collect information about modern India. Now let us talk about last topic, that is indigenous records. Apart from the official records in the archives, historians also gather information from old newspapers, diaries of people, accounts of pilgrimage, autobiographies of great personalities and booklets, etc. Great personality like Jawaharlal Nehru wrote about the discovery of India, autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi and accounts of travelers give us a deep insight into the lives of common people. Dadabhai Naoroji wrote about the poverty and un-British rule in India, in which he highlighted the exploitation nature of British. Bal Gangadhar Tilak used to run two newspapers, Kesari in Marathi and Maratha in English. He made people aware about the greedy nature of the British. The British tried to suppress this during the national movement, but they were unsuccessful. With this, children, we have come to the end of our chapter. So children, in this book, further we are going to read about the history of India in the last 250 to 300 years, the fall of the Mughals, the expansion and consolidation of the British East India Company, the subjugation of the Indian princely states, the revolt of 1857, a century of Crown's direct rule in India, India's freedom struggle, and eventually the end of British rule in India. Children, please write all these important terms in your copy. Watch this video carefully and note down all the important terms. Children, in next video, the assignment zone, I am going to give you book exercises and question answers. Thank you. Have a nice day.